Hi, Paul Sackers, Good News Planet. I'm here with Archduke Géza. Hi, Habsburg.
Hello, Paul.
Wow. All righty. And he's a sir, and he's a doctor, and well-educated, and comes from a wonderful, is it a monarchy family? Would you say that's correct?
The Habsburgs used to rule over most of Europe for about 700 years.
All right, so they had a good track record, and they were able to stay in business a long time and keep the place running, and of which my ancestry is Austrian and Polish and Hungarian. So
we come from the same neck of the woods.
Yeah.
My great-great-grandfather was Emperor Francis Joseph.
And mine wasn't. But the point is, but someone had to do that job, right? How does that feel for you to have come from such, we all come from great lineages because everybody's family is a beautiful thing. But to have, helped a region of the world, an area in the world, to prosper, to civilize, let's say, to bring culture into and an economy and things. How do you feel having, be the great-great-grandson and the grandson and the son and things like that? How does that feel for a man like you?
It gives me great pride. Simply because I'm a historian and an art historian, so anything to do with the political history of Europe is of great interest to me, and the role that the Habsburgs played is a source of great pride for me. As an art historian, of course, I can really dwell on the fact that most of the works of art in the museums in Vienna come from the Habsburgs, were personally collected or commissioned by the Habsburgs. Same for Spain, under Charles V, under Philip II. So most of the works in the Prado come from the Habsburgs, and I'm totally fascinated and dedicated to publicizing the role of the Habsburgs in the world of collecting and assembling works of art for the public in the end, because that is where the things are today, accessible in museums. Since the 19th century, Emperor Franz Joseph built the great public Kunsthistorisches Museum for the public, where all the collections of the Habsburgs were shown, and I play a little role in that particular context as president of the International Friends of the Kunsthistorisches Museum, and I do fundraising for them. Nothing to do with peace, but to do with the role that the Habsburgs played. The Habsburgs did play a major role with peace. In fact, going back to the late Middle Ages, yes, of course, they were warlords in their time. They were obliged to create power bases. So the Habsburgs, who came originally from little old Switzerland and were robber barons there, ended up by acquiring in the late 13th century major tracts of land, which then became the power base of the Habsburgs, comprising Austria, all of Austria, and then later adding to it, in the west at least, Bohemia, Hungary, and many other countries that formed the Habsburg Empire. Same in Spain, and for a while in Portugal, where the Habsburgs ruled. In fact, the Habsburgs ruled over large tracts of land overseas, so much of what was the coastland of Latin America, also of Northern America, of Western Africa, Eastern Africa, all the way to the Philippines, which led people to say and think that the sun never set on the Habsburg Empire. And it is my firm belief that really what they were interested in, apart from, of course, gaining power and might and riches, was of spreading peace throughout their empire. In fact, there is a saying about the Habsburgs, which in Latin says "Tu felix Austria nube," meaning you happy Austria marry. The Habsburgs were known to increase their power base through marriages of their daughters and sons. Rather than make war, marry off your daughters. So that was Habsburg's contribution at that time to the concept of peace throughout Europe.
Wow. Okay. This man speaks 6 languages. And so, and he probably could say that whole thing in 6 languages. So, in the process
You've forgotten
of that,
Hungarian. I speak Hungarian. That makes 7.
oh, well, all right. I didn't, what void? All right. So, all right. So this is really very exciting, very interesting, because this is, those were a bunch of years, a lot of years, and the family still is doing good. We actually are meeting through the International Debutante Ball, and the organization of which is a charitable outreach for the soldiers and the sailors and the Coast Guard and a club, a couple other Marines and so on, of which we've done many stories on actually over the years, because they help soldiers have a place to stay and when they're returning, and the families. So it's a good thing and a great organization. And so the ball is actually the 60th anniversary of the International Debutante. It was held here at the Waldorf Astoria, and your daughter, Isabella, who we had the joy of also speaking with. A very, very wise woman. It just sort of all happened. Our Susan Beer on our board introduced me and said, good friends, you and your lovely wife. And so this is all good. Now I'm in Fabergé's store here on Madison. I guess what was it, 694 Madison?
Correct.
Like around 62nd Street. Yeah. That's gorgeous, beyond gorgeous, with what's in here. And I'm speaking with you. So, you know, how do you feel as a dad, a daughter? Let's go right there. As a daughter being introduced, because you spoke about family. Being introduced to, I don't know whether they call that society, or being introduced to some cadet, and the whole outreach of that debutante, which was, so it seems to me, I don't really know the history, I didn't study it, a European kind of thing.
I was immensely impressed. I thought it was the most glamorous festive occasion, with really handsome young gentlemen to escort our daughters. And what I was surprised about was the incredible level of intelligence, of interest in history. I had interesting conversations with one or the other of these cadets about Hungarian history, for instance. He knew all about Admiral Horthy, for instance. So I try as a parent to instill this sense of history in my daughter, and I think she realized pretty much one of the first times what that actually entailed. So we take her, my wife and I, we take her to family gatherings, there are weddings, there are funerals, there are beatifications, like the last Emperor Charles at St. Peter's. John Paul II still in his last year of his pontificate. All that forms part of family tradition, and we are proud and happy to instill this in this extremely promising, beautiful young lady that is our daughter.
So it's about family for you. I could see that from your toes to the top of your head. Family is very, very important to you.
Yes, it is. This legacy is something so extraordinary, and as I said at the very beginning, I'm fascinated by it, proud of it, and it is. I've considered it my duty to really to talk about this, because one forgets. Take Austria, for instance. Now there's still an ongoing campaign against the Habsburgs, not official, but for instance, the Emperor Franz Joseph, my august forefather, is accused by many Austrians, socialists essentially, of being a war criminal. Imagine. Because he was involved with starting World War I. He was a senile, sweet gentleman at that time. The ministers of war of Austria and of Germany, of Berlin at that time, were intent on using the Sarajevo assassination as a reason to increase their power throughout Europe and teach Serbia a lesson. So now Franz Joseph is a war criminal, and this is the reason for the Austrians not to give back a single thing to the Habsburgs. So no property, no works of art, of course, not the treasury, of course, in Vienna. Who would want to obtain those things? But no land, none of the fortunes that were taken away, none of the factories, nothing. Everybody else got everything back, or pretty much. Not the Habsburgs. Why? Because Franz Joseph was a war criminal. Great excuse.
Well, you know, the wars are based very often on scapegoats, and it seems to me, and I, didn't live under that time. I had, and still they are, somebody they say was not good, and let's all go beat them and everybody else up near them. For us. That kind of, but I think I know, though, it was in 1991 that it was absolved, and that the Habsburg law was I don't want to make sure I get this correct. They forgot about that. It's historic, and something was, somebody was going to run for president or whatever, and then they said that's okay.
Absolutely
and
right.
So the good news today, and in 2000, almost 15, moments away, that's the status. And the other stuff, according to Wikipedia, maybe it's history.
The status is that Austria really lives off the Habsburgs. Empress Elizabeth, Sisi, everybody knows about her. The whole tourist industry is built around her, Franz Joseph and the Habsburgs, and yet the Habsburgs are given nothing in compensation. So, I repeat that, but I think that is something that needs to be re-examined. The fact you mentioned Ulrich Habsburg managed to get the law changed, allowing foreign heads of state to run for positions within the government. So he will be running, I think, next year as a potential president of the Austrian Republic.
Right.
It could not inconceivable.
Well, I wish him the best, and I wish him, I wish Austria, and I wish the world the best to kind of move ourselves into a good position of loving and caring for each other, and moving things forward here.